hunting,
fishing,
cooking,
camping,
conservation,
travel,
gardening,
photography, family.
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 This is the Outdoor Rules Podcast. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Outdoor Rules Podcast. Mike here with my brothers. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
There's Mark and then Matt. And joined by a extra special guest today, Matt Goudie is here with us. Say hi, Matt.
Hello.
My only concern about this episode is that I've always thought one Matt was probably too many. So we'll try the episode with two Matts, but
Could be a lot.
Matt, our brother, is too many. That's for sure.
No doubt about that.
I'd be offended, but it's true.
So, Mark, go ahead. This one's kind of your idea. Take it over.
Yeah. So I would classify Mr. Goudie sitting across from me here as my oldest fishing friend. So
Is that age or longevity?
Longevity.
Good answer.
So I grew up obviously fishing, following you guys around, but I didn't have a lot of friends that fished. And so we met, I was probably 8 and you were 9 in Little League.
Tony's Mining Company, right?
Playing for Tony's Mining Company. Our first
Yep.
2 years we went 0 and
A lot.
I think it was 0 and 39, 0 and 39 or 1 and 39 or
I
something
couldn't
like
count
that.
that high when I was 9.
So we had better years after that, though.
We did.
But anyway, but yeah, through Little League, we became friends, and we've discussed it on the podcast before. We spent a bunch of time as kids fishing the Snitz Creek together.
Sure did.
So I guess my first question, Matt, is, your parents, they loved the outdoors. What I remember, what I remember growing up, your parents loved the outdoors. Your dad liked sailing.
Sailing, yep.
And your mom liked to camp, and
Yeah, they both were big campers, hikers, all that kind of stuff.
but they didn't fish.
So my mom actually introduced me into fishing.
Oh, really?
So she took me to the good old Gretna Lake, and that was kind of like the exposure of it. And then my grandfather took me to a pond down near their place down in like the main line. And that was kind of like the initial exposure, I guess. But then, I don't know, just kind of growing up in Mount Gretna, you
Yeah.
ride your bike around, fish wherever a fish will bite. From the little creeks to the pond and or lake or whatever you want to call it. So
I remember that output of the Gretna Lake. And I don't know if you guys ever fished there, but Mike
it was
and
like
Matt.
it was like fish in a barrel.
Yeah, it was. And there was a lot of different stuff in there.
Yeah.
Catfish. We kept catfish and took them back and cooked them and ate. Your mom cooked them for us one
Yep.
time. I
Definitely.
remember, and big sunfish and bass, of course.
I maybe remember fishing Gretna Lake one time. Do you remember that, Matt?
I don't remember fishing there at all.
So I don't think you're actually allowed to.
Oh,
Well, that
that
makes
probably helped the fishing.
That makes it better.
Yeah, but
Now I wish I would have known about it.
because it was privately owned and they had the swimming area, they didn't really want people fishing it. So
Yeah.
we would always fish like down below the discharge from the dam.
Yeah, snagging a swimmer is a big no-no.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
They
Haven't
really
done it
fight.
yet,
They really
but-
fight, though.
Flop is what they do.
They
So-
scream a lot more than fish. I've
So-
always thought that was really one of the things that is kind of important to make fishing work. Like if the fish could scream, I don't think it would be. nearly
You
as
don't
much
think
fun.
you'd do it?
No.
No,
Yeah.
probably not.
Just imagine like a croaker, but instead of it like
Right.
croaking, it's like because you catch a seagull, it'd be like the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. We were at the beach one time, and do you remember that there was a guy running up and down the beach because the bluefish were in? And so the seagulls were following the bluefish, and there was a guy who must have been like a biologist. I think he worked for the Outer Banks down there somewhere, but all he was doing was running up and down the beach helping guys get birds off of their line. I bet I watched him get 10 birds off of lines.
Wow.
Anyway, I digress. So what do you remember growing up, like fishing at Snitz Creek? Do you have any, I look back on that time as fond memories. We
Oh,
had a
yeah.
lot of fun running from snakes and hiding from cows. And
So I mean, there's a couple big Snitz Creek stories. You'll probably hate the one I'll bring up, but the one, I mean, there was this one big hole. It was like back at the like S turn in the creek in the middle of the cow pasture, and every time you'd go back, you'd catch like 3-4 trout. So we're walking back there, and every time we were always kind of a little wary of cows. But this one, we're like, oh my goodness, it's a bull. And it starts scratching its feet and does this little jump. And we go sprinting out of that cow pasture and jump through the electric fence as fast as we could. I've kind of been half scared of cows since. But so that was a good one. My other favorite one, which you're going to probably hate that I share this one. I remember one time we were in the water fishing. It wasn't far from the bridge on, was it Rockerty Road?
Mm-hmm.
Where your dad or someone dropped us off. And you got the biggest rat's nest I've ever seen. And you were so mad that I was fishing when you couldn't because your rod was all tangled up. Right. So I think that rod got thrown in the water. Kind of like golf clubs do these days.
Apparently, yeah. Throwing things has always been my MO.
You got a tendency to chuck stuff when you're mad at it, Mark.
Yeah, I do remember that one clean as day.
I don't think it's fair. You take a guy fishing and you get a rat's nest and he gets to continue fishing while you're pulling the rat's nest out. That doesn't seem right.
It's the beauty of skill.
When do you think you got the bass bug as it is?
So that's a good question. Like the bass bug for where it is now would be after we moved. So we moved down to Conestoga. And I remember, so my dad got moved churches. We moved down there and, we're checking the area out and all of a sudden it's like, wow, we're a mile from the Susquehanna River. And my dad growing up sailing was like, we've got to have something to get on the water. So, we search out and end up finding a little 14-foot John boat, I think with like a 4-horsepower Mariner on it. This tiny little boat. We found in the newspaper because this was before Craigslist and all that stuff. So the guy lived, 2 miles from us. So we bought that thing and I started fishing more like below Safe Harbor Dam, like that stretch mostly, some of the local lakes and stuff. But that's when I kind of got it pretty bad. And then, so on my dad's side, my cousins and my uncle were all really big bass fishermen. And they took me out on their boat a couple times. And that was like, that really got me going. And then just the more I did it, the more I was like, all right, I want a boat for all the rivers. So then I got a jet boat and then it just kept growing and growing. And I haven't looked back. Some might call it an unhealthy obsession, but there are worse things to be obsessed with, I guess.
Matt, what specifically about bass though? Like why them over other fish?
I
mean, they have the coolest looking boats out there. So
they do have like the race car of boats.
Oh, I do. I call my boat the Porsche of bass boats. I think it's the thing that you can go anywhere and catch them. So, you can go to a farm pond and you might catch a 5-pounder. You can go to streams and catch smallmouth. So it's the type of thing that you can go to, I assume, any state in the United States and catch them. You can travel around the country. I've started doing that. The last 4 years, I've gone down to Alabama. I've been up to St. Lawrence a bunch of times, Cayuga, Oneida, Falls Lake in North Carolina, fished a little bit in Florida. And just the fact that you can take that technique and kind of grow with it and use it. But it's also, for me, it's like it's the ease of doing it by myself too, because my work schedule has me off Mondays a lot. And most people don't have off Mondays, which is great because the boat ramps are empty and there's no one out there. But also it's not like you're going out and trying to launch a 30-foot boat by yourself either. So I can do it all by myself. It's an easy thing to do kind of wherever you want to go. And I think that's kind of a lot of it. But I really enjoy the learning aspect of it. I'm going in a couple days to some new water with a friend of mine. That we've only ever ice fished a couple times, but taking my boat up there, and to me, it's like that new water. Just trying to apply the different tactics to that water is a really exciting thing for me. I guess kind of sounds like a nerdy thing to say, but I just love that challenge of it.
Yeah, I think that there's like a theme in this with fishing, and the way that we've fished too, and obviously, Matt among us, Matt got the bass bug more than the rest of us, but the learning something, is definitely a theme.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting because it feels to me like you can take that one of two directions. One direction is you can kind of learn to become just about proficient at like a whole bunch of different things, like saltwater fishing and ice fishing and walleye fishing and, this, that, and the other. And some of us I think I tend more like in that direction. Once I start learning enough about one thing in particular, I get a little bored with it and then I move on to something else. But the other path is, I think, what you're talking about, which is that you take one thing and just learn every possible thing about that.
And
right?
I think what's one of the other things I really like about bass fishing is it's literally 12 months a year. I mean, if it doesn't freeze, I'm on my boat 12 months a year in Pennsylvania or Maryland. I fish down there more than anything now. But I mean, last winter, so I have this thing, I have to catch a bass every month of the year. Sometimes I may have to go south to do it. But I mean, last year we had probably one of the hardest winters ever. It looked like things were going to freeze solid January 2nd. January 1st, my buddy and I, we went down in 36-degree water. It was there was a big cold front coming through. I remember it was blowing like 25. Temps were in the 30s, and we were catching bass after bass after bass. And it's learning how to apply the different seasonal patterns and everything too, just makes it so much more enjoyable to me because I can launch my boat at the same boat ramp all 12 months of the year and catch fish. And it's not like you're driving up and down the East Coast to do it, chasing like migratory stripers or something, or, a lot of people are like, oh, it's too cold to fish. I'm like, yep, keep telling yourself that. Stay away. So I don't know. I really enjoy that side of things, I think.
Matt and I have a disagreement every year on how many days we think he fishes. And I always say it's over 100, and he doesn't think it's quite that many, but it's got to be darn close.
I won't debate that anymore. I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm pretty sure it's been for a while. You just didn't want to admit it to yourself.
The first time you brought it up, I went through my phone, and I found 80 days that I had a picture on my phone. So there had to have been another 20.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. I've always felt more like I'm a master, like a jack of all trades and a master in none. I could never hyper focus on one. I'm just happy catching fish. I don't care if it's, bass or catfish or crappies or whatever. But
I think also for me, when I get into something, I tend to dive in head first, which isn't always a good thing. But, if I go saltwater fishing with a friend of mine who has a boat down in Cape May, the whole time I'm out there, I'm like, oh man, I would love to have a saltwater boat. Oh man, I'd love to be able to come out and do this. I'm like, I'd rather just get into one thing. And then if friends want to take me for something else, I'll do something else.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy all of it. But
yeah, all the hobbies we seem to get into are very gear intensive and not cheap.
That's half the fun though.
Yeah. What's your favorite way to fish for bass? Like, do you have a favorite? Like,
I would say that it's
like
a
top
tie.
water.
There's a tie.
It's my favorite.
Give me a frog and grass, or give me a jerk bait. I could throw those two baits 365 days a year.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you're not going to catch them all year, but one of those, I think you probably could catch them. But that's definitely my two favorite ways. Absolutely. And yeah, it's. I mean, you go in phases. Like one year, I'll catch a ton cranking, and then the next year, I'm like, man, I haven't thrown a crankbait in a month. But those two baits are kind of like my staples.
Yeah. It's like tubes. Didn't you fish tubes this year again for the first time in a long time?
I haven't touched them in
I couldn't tell you the last time I
10
tied
years.
one on. Yeah.
And this spring I towed a tube when I caught a 512, 513 upstate in a tube.
I have to go home and tie a tube on. Yeah, I mean, I drive me crazy.
Yeah, I hadn't fished them, and that was my go-to bait for a long time, and I got away from it. And this year, I just told myself I'm going to throw a tube.
I get really stubborn too. I hate getting snagged, so I'll be on the river. I'll be fishing. Like last week, I was out on the river, took a guy from work, and I'm throwing chatterbaits, and you could feel they're biting it, but it seemed like kind of smaller fish that couldn't get it in their mouth. And my buddy with me, he caught two fish. And he's like, "Hey, just a heads up, it's 2-0." And I'm like, "All right, that's enough of that." So I grabbed the Ned rig out of the rod locker, and before you notice, 10-2. And it's like when I'm out there, I don't really care if I'm catching 10 fish. I want to have fun throwing what I'm throwing. And Ned rigs just drive me crazy, but those things work.
Yeah.
I just on the Susquehanna, anything on the bottom is just
Mhm.
Makes you want to pull your hair out at times.
Yeah, we fish a lot of like TRD crawls.
Yep.
On the river. They just catch fish.
That they do.
You have started to dabble in some tournaments, right?
I have. A few years ago, I started doing some of the Chester County Opens. They run them on the Upper Chesapeake. Some other clubs run some different Opens down there, then like evening tournaments on the Conowingo and on the Bay as well. And then this year, I don't know why, but decided to jump in a Bassmaster Open for the first time. So that'll be fun. Out of my league a little bit, but that's all right. On the home water, so it's hard to pass it up.
Yeah. And so that's 3 days of fishing?
So tournament is 2 days, and then the final day, the top 10 fish.
Matt, even for me, I'm not like all that familiar with tournament bass fishing. Just kind of lay that out a little more, the local tournaments versus the Bassmaster kind of stuff. Like, where's all this fall in the spectrum of bass fishing tournaments, and kind of how it would all work to climb through that.
So the local tournament scene, especially on the Bay, is outrageous competition. There are guys that I swear they're out there 6 days a week. We joke that they're on the front of their boats taking conference calls all day long. But I mean, there are guys that just are on that water all the time. And tidal water especially is a whole nother animal to learn. So the local club scene is some serious competition, especially when you're dealing with these buddy tournaments. But I mean, a lot of these tournaments, and I don't want to say a lot of them, and maybe not as much anymore, but I mean, there have been tournaments where you'd have Graybuck, Mike Iaconelli, Greg DePalma. So you got 3 full-time tournament fishing professionals in the field. And you get a lot of guys that do fish a lot of Opens, a lot of Toyota Series, BFLs, stuff like that. So you get some serious competition in these Opens. I've never gotten into the club scene just with my work schedule, working weekends. It's tough for me to really take advantage of that. But the Open scenes, it's some good fishing. There's some guys that just can flat out catch them. And I think it makes you realize how good the guys that are doing it professionally are. For them to go to a new body of water, and the way the off limits and the no information and all that kind of stuff works, they're basically going in blind with the help of whoever else is in the tournament. I mean, a lot of those guys travel with guys and they share info amongst themselves, but for them to show up to new water and figure it out in 3 days of practice and then string together 70, 80, 100-pound bags is pretty outrageous.
So when you say, just for people who don't know necessarily, when you say put an 80-pound or 100-pound bag together, that's 5 fish?
So 5 fish over 4 days for like the least, for example. So they're doing their best 5. And
so
that's
every day you keep 5 fish in your live well alive.
Yep.
You take them back, they get weighed, and then you have to take the fish back to where you caught them?
You don't take them back to where you caught them. You just release them typically at the ramp. Now, Bassmaster, they use a release boat. So they take the fish. They have this huge pontoon boat with like holding tanks, and then they go around and disperse the fish.
Okay.
But typically they just release them right then and there. You get penalized if the fish are dead. So they have to be alive. And different tournaments have different rules as far as dead fish. Sometimes if you lose your dead fish, they won't count it. Others, you'll get a weight penalty. Some will allow you to weigh that for lunker. Some won't. It kind of depends on the tournament series. But yeah, they got to be alive.
It's 3 days of practice, as you said, and then 3 days of fishing
for the Open. Yeah. So the way it works, we're in an off limits period now. So starting, I can't remember if it was June 22nd, I think. There's 28-day period. I'm not allowed on the water. I'm not allowed to take a plane over the water unless it's a commercial flight. You're not allowed to fly a drone. There's basically no way that you can be scouting things out. There's also no information. And that's gotten a lot of attention the last year or so, just because of some high profile DQs on the professional scene. But I'm not allowed to really talk to anyone about fishing down there. At least with information that pertains to that tournament or locating fish for that tournament.
Right.
So
just prevent me from going out there, though I'd be a bad example because I'm not a good bass fisherman, catching fish and then telling you where I caught them. Is what they're trying to prevent. It's
interesting. I mean, at the second I signed up for the tournament, I texted every friend that I know fishes down there and basically said, don't tell me anything about any trips you go down there, because I want to know, but I can't.
Right.
So, and I mean, they allowed you to fish up until that point, and you could fish like buddy tournaments and stuff. And obviously you're going to talk to the person you're fishing with, but you're fishing it for that tournament then. But they can't be like, oh, when you're fishing in 3 weeks, you should run up this river and go check out this spot then, because I always catch them there at the end of July. Like, that's an automatic DQ. You get caught doing that kind of stuff. So, but I mean, it's a huge body of water for that tournament. It's going to be overwhelming for a lot of people, but I think the local knowledge is a huge advantage. Just kind of knowing the areas that tournaments are typically won in is a pretty consistent answer, at least for the summer. So
yeah,
that'll help to know for sure.
Will you be fishing with some of the pros like Ike and Ellie? Will he be there?
I don't know if Mike will.
Does he need it to qualify? Like, how's that work?
So the way it works, I don't know the exact numbers, but Bassmaster Elites, this tournament series is, they do 2 different divisions of the Opens. They have Division 1, Division 2. Each one has 4 tournaments. If you fish all 4 of those and finish in the top 50 in points, you go to the Elite Series qualifying at the end of the season. So there are guys that are fishing all 4 of these tournaments trying to make the Elite Series. So then they go to that series. I believe that's 3 more tournaments. And then however many spots are available in the Elites. I'm not familiar with all that, but that's how you qualify for the Elite Series. The other thing, if you win the Open and fish all 4 in that division, you automatically go to the Bassmaster Classic. So I was talking to a friend of mine the other night who's fishing the Open, and we were just talking about some stuff. And his goal, basically he's trying to win this thing to get to the Classic. He's fishing all 4 so that if he happens to win, he gets to go to the Classic. But if I would happen to win because it's the only one I'm fishing, it's a great win. It's never going to turn down the check, but I don't get to go to the Classic. So
because you missed the tournament already?
Yeah, I've missed 2 of them already. There's one more the following week up on the St. Lawrence.
Okay.
So
you didn't want to get in on the St. Lawrence?
Got to work.
Now you do get to pre-fish though.
Yeah, so they give me 3 days.
You'll have 3 days to pre-fish.
Right. So I have to work a little bit in there. But I'm going to go down half the day on Saturday, the second half of the day, and then I'll be on the water sun up to sundown Sunday, Monday. So I've already got stuff mapped out. That's the weirdest thing about knowing the water so well. I don't want to go into it and just be like, I'm just going to go around and see where they're biting. I have a Google Earth document going, basically, or project, or whatever you want to call it, where I have all these different spots marked, places that I've had success at historically. I want to go check them out so I can have a very methodical approach to it. And then a lot of it's going to be seeing what the grass is like too, because this year has been a weird year with situation down there, just because of how cold the winter was. That's the first time the bay is frozen like that in years. So I really believe that probably changed the summertime grass. And it's not a secret that grass is the player down there. So things are different this year than they've been other years. And the other thing too, we've had such a wet spring.
The Susquehanna's putting a lot of water into the bay.
Definitely. So it's the freshest the water's been in years. It's the muddiest the water's been in years. Now, you get more grass, it filters more. But yeah, even just cruising around and looking for stuff that might be different than I've seen, or just kind of trying to find new stuff. I'm torn between trying to find stuff away from the group of people, knowing that the tournament's always won in the group of people. But, being able to go out and find stuff on peripheral areas, is that a good way to go? I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know, but it seems
Time will tell.
Time will tell, but it seems like a lot of times they're won in a very similar area.
Is that, have you noticed water temperatures being lower too because of the amount of water?
Yeah, they were. So we got pretty warm early on. I want to say early May, if I remember, the water was pushing like low 70s in spots. And then we started getting this rain, and out on the flats, like the main flats out there, the water temp dropped about 10 degrees in a day. And things just completely changed from that point, and they haven't been clean since. So it's definitely been lower. Typically whenever the river's running heavy, it's running cooler water down there. So that definitely is changing things for sure. But I think also a lot of these people that came down and before the off limits ended, they only ever got to see it muddy. So, if it's your first time and you come down from New York to check the place out in, we'll say, early June, they're going to show up in end of July and be like, whoa, this is a little different. So
hopefully it plays into your favor.
Yeah, that's where the local knowledge can help for sure.
And when we say, I mean, for people who don't know, the Upper Chesapeake, it's where the Susquehanna flows into the Chesapeake, and it created like a giant, what you would call a flat.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a ginormous lake in a way.
That's 3 feet deep.
That's 3 feet deep. There's some channels there. I mean, the times I've been on it, there's benches and almost like canals you can go down. The guys who know it know where those are. And I know we've been down there times floating across some of those and being like, man, I can't believe that guy is running across that at full tilt because it's knowing where you're going.
There's a piece of my skeg missing for a reason. But yeah, it's
you've had some interesting boat motor moments.
Yeah, I have. The hard thing is coming. I mean, I was a jet guy for years, and I still have my jet boat, but I forget that I have a prop in the water at times as I'm screaming across. And I'm like, wait a minute, my jet boat doesn't matter if I bounce a log, but this thing does. So, but yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. So you come out of the Susquehanna. There's some incredibly deep water around there. You get barge traffic going up to the quarry. A lot of huge pleasure boats, but then all of a sudden it turns into, especially at low tide, it looks like a football field at times with how thick the grass is. Yeah. And there's basically, I mean, there's a couple big channels that are marked on charts that go down through there. And there's a channel that goes across the top side. And if you sit there for an hour on a Friday or Saturday afternoon, you're going to see every channel that's out there because there's a billion boats. But it's all about the stuff that's out in the flats that you have to kind of know is there. And especially when the grass gets thicker, it's even harder to see it.
Yeah.
So being able to find, sometimes it's a foot change in depth or something over, little drainage ditch or something like that. But it's a pretty cool area. But for the tournament, you can fish all Maryland waters all the way down to the Bay Bridge. So down to Route 50 where it crosses the bay.
Wow. And that's got to be 25 mile?
It's probably 70.
Okay.
Would be
way
my
more
guess.
Than
that.
Yeah.
Because we launch up in Northeast, up in the top of the Northeast River and Anchor Marine there at the township park.
Mm-hmm.
Is there bass that far south?
So the Elite Series, what year was that? The last time the Elites were there, I want to say, I forget when, but Aaron Martin's won fishing docks down in Middle River.
Wow.
Now, I mean, that was 10, 15 years ago, I think. It's changed a lot. So there's the grass on the top half has gotten so much better. So I'm not saying it's not a player. I'm sure there's fish all throughout there, but I mean, the gunpowder. I just didn't
realize that the water stayed fresh enough that far south.
Yeah. And I think it's more you're going up into the creeks in some of those spots. But yeah, I mean, it's Gunpowder, Bush, Middle, all those places can all be players for sure. But I mean, it's, how many 5-pound bass are you driving past to go find a 5-pound bass?
Yeah, a lot.
So it's, yeah, I don't know. It's, it'll be interesting to see how all that works out.
Yeah, man, I do think it's interesting from a fish standpoint. I mean, obviously largemouth bass are a freshwater fish and most of us think of them that way, but they're pretty darn adaptable critter too. And you mentioned salinity earlier. I mean, you're catching largemouth bass in the same place where you can crab for blue crabs, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. There are days where I will literally be trolling motoring between crab traps fishing, especially because they'll go right on the grass edges. So then you're fishing the grass edges and I mean, you'll get, especially late in the summer, early fall, you'll get commercial guys all over the place there. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think that's what I enjoy about that area so much is the diversity. I mean, I always call it like the Chesapeake Bay Slam, but you can go down there and catch smallmouth, largemouth, and striper in the same day.
Yeah.
And it's not landlocked striper. I mean, they're not necessarily migratory ones this time of year, but the fact that you can catch all three of those fish on the same trip is pretty cool and pretty unique. And I think a lot of places, they certainly don't have that type of variety or opportunity without running 20 miles to this end of the lake and 30 miles to that end of the lake. So I think it's cool how close you can do all that. And then you throw in, I mean, snakeheads have become an enormous target down there for rod and reel and bow fishing. And you want to talk about a fun fish to catch. I mean, those things, they're a blast. So it's a fun area to fish.
And blue cats, right?
Blue cats as well. Yeah.
Bullheads.
Blue cats, channel, bullheads. I mean, the perch fishing down there.
Perch, white and yellow perch,
and they're
brackish water.
Yeah, and they're a little more migratory. Like over winter, perch fishing obviously is going to be at its top, but I mean you can catch them all year long. They'll be nipping at your trailers, driving you crazy.
Really neat, like you said, it's really neat biodiversity down there.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool spot.
Have you ever caught like a flounder?
I have not. I do know a few years ago somebody caught a flounder in a crab trap right around Turkey Point. So Turkey Point's the big point where the Elk River meets the bay. Now, a lot of speculation on that was it came across the C&D Canal from the Delaware Bay, because that's I don't know how many miles that is, not terribly long. So very good chance that just came across there, because the Elk River turns into a pretty good spot crabbing later in the summer, and I think a lot of those crabs actually come across the canal from the bay. But there were, I don't know if it was last summer or 2 summers ago, but they were seeing dolphins like up around the mouth of the sassafras and stuff. So you'll definitely get them. I'm waiting for the day a bull shark gets up there.
Yeah.
They're probably already there and you don't know it.
I won't dangle my
I know
toes
they just caught a really big bull shark out of Chesapeake a week or 2 ago.
Oh, really?
Now it was down farther, but
yeah.
But if they're there, I mean, it's not crazy to speculate.
Right.
And then we mentioned it earlier, but you do some stuff like in the St. Lawrence. You go up for big smallmouth. That's been
So I've been up there 5 times, maybe. I've been up there in the summer 3 times, and it's funny. I'm a Susquehanna River guy. To me, give me bass in 10 feet or less when I'm at home. Up there, guys catching them 40, 50, 60 feet deep. I am so lost in the summer up there. My best fishing in the summer has been in the lake, when I can catch them in 10 feet or less, throwing baits that I'm used to throwing. I'm not saying I've never caught them, but these guys going up, I'm blown away at the precision that they have, especially when you're talking about forward-facing sonar and in the depths that they're dealing with. It's pretty impressive stuff. But springtime has been where I've really, really enjoyed it. You can only fish Canada. You can't fish New York the way it works as far as closures. And I've been up in some ridiculously awful weather. I'm pretty sure that bad weather follows me everywhere. But my cousin and I, 2 years ago, we were up there towards the end of April. We fished 3 straight days. Our best 5 for the 3 days went 90 pounds. Our best day was 33 pounds. I mean, it was, we figured it out, and we were estimating a little bit here. 175 bass over 3 days. We guessed 75 of them were over 5 pounds.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. And I mean, there was one spot we pulled up, and it's like, the cool thing is how many you can catch off of spots there. We pulled up to this one spot, and I'm going to guess we caught 20 or so. And it was in a little deeper water. It was pretty windy at the time. So we got out flipping sticks. And instead of using like 1/4 ounce micro jigs, we're throwing 3/8 and 1/2 ounce jigs on flipping sticks on like 17-pound fluoro. And all of a sudden we are just jacking these things. And you don't normally get to do that up there. It's usually this little finesse stuff. Your drag's screaming on spinning rods. And we're doubling constantly. And I was like, all right, I got to get out the GoPro for this one. Well, you know what happened. As soon as we get out the GoPro, we don't get a bite for 5 minutes.
Stuff.
We did end up getting a double on camera, which is pretty cool. But that's still, even though the place frustrates the crap out of me in the summer, that might be some of my favorite stuff to fish.
Yeah.
Just because the water is so cool.
Super clear. You can see the bottom in 30 feet.
We were up this summer. We'd see it on live scope. We'd look over and be like, yep, there they are. You'd see them in 25 feet of water. And just the way that you're running between rocks. And I mean, I'm so used to the Susquehanna again, where it's like you see a rock and you don't know what's underneath you nearby. Meanwhile, you're running in 50 feet of water, 50 feet away from a rock island. And it's just such a cool, unique body of water.
Yeah. Do you have a preference to smallmouth or largemouth?
That's a tough one.
Do you have a preference?
Oh, I'd take a smallmouth every day.
I think I would. If we had good smallmouth lakes here, that's probably all. I mean, I'm not saying that's all I would do, but I'll take. I mean, you could catch a smallmouth on a jerkbait all year long.
They fight better, I think.
I like that style of fishing. I've gotten to appreciate the largemouth fishing more, but smallmouth I think definitely would get the nod if I could.
Yeah. Do you have a preference, Mike? Smallmouth or largemouth? You don't care?
I mean, it's hard not to go back to our roots and, say smallmouth. I mean, I think they're a harder fighting fish, but obviously they also don't get nearly as big, but
right. Unless you go up to the St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're going to catch 8-pounders in the St. Lawrence.
Do you remember, this is tied to a little story. Do you remember the first time you ever fished a river?
Was it foulmouth?
Was it with me?
Probably. I mean, I don't know if that was the first time that probably was the first time I ever actually fished the river for bass, where we're wading out across the rocks out to the York Haven Dam.
We come back across there and you fell hard one time.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I do. And you said, I'm never doing this again.
I
never.
must have hit my head. Yeah, I'll tell you, I did not enjoy. I mean, once we got out there, I loved being out there.
Oh, yeah.
But there were a couple stretches where you had to go across water, and that wigged me out.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, doing that without life jackets or
We used
something.
to do that in the dark.
You're crazy.
The duck hunt.
The duck hunting was scary.
At 4 in the morning,
Yeah.
dark.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Ugh, I've done some dumb stuff for ducks.
Maybe both of you Matts fell and hit your head out there, and that's why you love bass fishing so much.
That explains
I'm
it.
pretty sure I've hit my head plenty of times.
I don't know how we never got seriously hurt out there.
I remember there was this one spot, there was like a metal pipe that stuck out of a rock where you always had to cross, and I hated that part.
It was an I-beam, I think, actually.
Yeah, or like a sign, something, but
Yeah.
I hated that stretch.
I know exactly where that's at. I could walk you to it right now.
Yeah, let's not.
You have a boat for a reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say they make boats for that now.
Man, what's the place you want to fish? Like, what's the dream location?
That's a good question. So I would, if I could go anywhere right now, I'd be a toss-up. Give me like 3 days on Lake Ontario where the wind doesn't blow, and I'll take that over anything. But I have never been up there for any stretch of time where we didn't get blown off the lake at some point. I mean, that's the one day we went out there and we ran out to Duck Island, which is almost 20 miles out. Or I guess it's about 20 miles out the mouth of the St. Lawrence. And it was completely glass. I took this really cool picture where all you see is water and it looks like the Caribbean. And we had to run back in 3-footers. And my cousins my one was about to kill me. But I never get to fish that when it's calm. And I would do anything to fish the St. Lawrence when it's calm. I mean, if I was just going somewhere to try to catch like outrageous bass, I'd probably go to Fork down in Texas. I mean, I think that's one of your best chances for a double digit.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know. I'd take a calm Lake Ontario, I think, over anything.
I'd like to fish Lake Amistad. I've never fished it, but I've seen it, and it's a pretty amazing looking place and produces some big bass.
Yeah, and honestly, I almost enjoy going to the off the beaten path type places a little bit too. I was up in Champlain a few years ago, and the one day we just ran over to an electric only lake that was, I don't know, maybe a half hour from where we were staying, and just like going to the small places, you have the place to yourself, the only boat on the water. And it's just that kind of stuff I think could be fun. I'm sure there's so many hidden gems out there too. And I'd almost that almost intrigues me more at times because, you can watch all the YouTube videos or see everyone do what they do on Champlain and you're next to 30 boats doing it. But being able to go to those small places and really be able to fish something without playing bumper boats to me would be a fun. I've always thought that'd be fun to just kind of take 2 weeks to a road trip and just hit all the little lakes that people don't fish.
You should come to New Mexico.
I know.
You know, our state record bass is 15-13. That's 4.5 pounds bigger than Pennsylvania or Maryland.
No comment on Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and that's an electric only. That's a small lake that's
really?
out of. Mm-hmm.
Did they put it back?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I guess I don't know the answer to that.
It's probably swimming around in a Bass Pro tank somewhere.
There's a couple of lakes in the southwest part of the state, kind of in the what we call the Gila, Lake Roberts, and that small lake Bill Evans. I think they're both electric only, and they both produce 10-pounders. We have a couple lakes here that produce some really big bass.
Have you caught peacocks?
I have not. So all my Florida fishing has been when I'm down there for a conference in Orlando, so it's too far north. But that's something I want to do for sure. Get down to that southern Florida area. I've been tempted to just do like an East Coast road trip with the boat and hit some places like that where I can catch peacocks, but I've never done it. Not yet.
Yeah, that's a fish that's kind of on my bucket list as far as freshwater goes. I think they're just really cool. They get big. I don't know. They don't get that big in Florida. No, not like they do in South America.
For what I understand, they fight a lot harder than largemouth.
Yeah.
Too. So that would be fun.
Yeah. Have you caught them, Mike?
Never caught a peacock bass. We were determined that 5 years after college we were going to go fish the Rio Negro in Brazil for peacock bass, but it's been more than 5 years since.
5 years has since passed. Yeah, 5 times.
We haven't gotten down there yet, but I still want
to. You said 50 years, right?
It's something like that. Some multiple of 5.
It's all details.
So, I don't know, Matt, if you remember. This is another going back memory lane.
Oh, boy.
But one of my fondest fishing memories was with you and our good buddy Phil Stanky.
Oh, boy.
So, we fished a lot with Phil when he was still around. He grew up in Mount Gretna with you, and he went to church with me. And it was kind of like one of those things where it was like one day, I don't know if you mentioned him or if Phil mentioned you, and it was like, oh, I know, we all knew each other, and then it was just then it was just going all over the place fishing together. But your mom took us to Pinchot Lake. Do you remember that?
So I was actually there 2 weeks ago. And I was thinking about that trip with the set the hook.
Set the hook?
Oh, yeah.
So we got there.
I remember this one.
What I remember it was we were going to get there. We were going to set up and then we were going to go to the bait shop and get bait. Mm-hmm. But it rained really, really hard on the drive there.
Like I said, bad weather followed.
Bad weather, apparently. Started when you were younger.
Seriously.
So, and your mom stopped on the highway under an overpass and let the rain. I don't know if you remember that.
Nope.
It rained really, really hard. So we got there and got set up. The bait shop was closed. So here we are, me, Matt, and Phil, and we're probably 12 to 14.
Probably more like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With rods and no tackle. Like nothing, no worms or anything. I think at that time we were pretty much like mono-focused on throwing worms on a hook.
Yep.
And got to the point where we're like trying to catch sunfish with bare hooks, and that wasn't working. So then we end up taking cigarette butts that were laying on the rock at our campsite.
Seriously?
This is how we were catching these fish.
I don't remember this one.
This is like tobacco from The Simpsons.
Exactly, right. It was like cocaine from King of the Hill.
Yeah,
we were
don't remember this at all. This is beautiful.
So we're using cigarette butts to catch sunfish, but they'd hit it and let it go because they knew immediately it wasn't something they wanted. So then it set the hook. So it was as soon as you'd see the fish coming to hit it, like you'd start setting the hook. But that ended up resulting in fish hitting it and then fish flying over your head, but they weren't hooked. So then you'd have to go back into the campsite and find the sunfish that you just flung back into the. And then at some point, I think your mom was like, maybe we should stop.
I don't remember that. I didn't remember the cigarette butts part. I
we were using cigarette butts because we didn't have worms.
Yeah, I was thinking about that trip the other day when I was there fishing.
I don't know if I've ever been back.
It's a fun lake to fish.
It's real shallow, right?
No, it's actually surprisingly deep.
Oh, I thought I remember being real shallow.
It depends on 20 feet down at the dam.
Yeah, it gets decent. There's a lot of deep rock there in that like 10 to 20 foot range. A lot of crappie fishermen there. But yeah, it's really, really good grass. The problem is they spray it.
Oh.
So when they spray it, the fishing just goes south like you'd expect.
Yeah. But no grass, no bass.
Yep, no grass, no bass.
My buddy Bob that I fish with lives right there. He fishes Pinchot a lot.
Yeah.
I just unlocked another thing. Do you remember going into that bait shop? We bought a bunch of stuff and the guy sold us just like I don't even remember what it was. Stuff that I don't know if I've ever even fished with again. It was like he saw us coming and sold us whatever.
Here come some suckers.
Whatever he could unload at that time. But I do remember I got a rubber frog in there and I lost a decent fish.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think we caught many bass that time.
I don't think so. I feel like I remember you missing one on a popper.
I think it was a rubber frog.
Was it the rubber frog?
I don't think I had a popper with me. Yeah.
Okay. I remember you missing something on top of it.
Yeah.
Right out from the campsite.
Good times. Do you have any other questions, Michael?
No, this has been great.
Matt, do you think you'd be willing to check in with us sit down again after the tournament? Let us know how it goes. Do a rundown.
If it goes well, sure.
If it goes well, it'll go well.
Why not? That'll be interesting to talk about for sure.
Yeah.
I think just the experience is going to be worth it.
Yeah. And honestly, like I have low expectations. I mean, I kind of have in my mind what I want to accomplish, but I realize I'm fishing against guys that fish professionally full time and guys that have, been fishing big tournaments with a lot of success for a lot of time. So I'm not expecting to go in there and win a US Open tomorrow, but I think the local knowledge has me excited. And for me, it's like, you know what, let's sign up. It's a local tournament on the water. I typically fish maybe 50 days a year. So why not spend the time and jump in and see how it goes? Maybe I'll surprise myself.
You know what Michael's motto is, right? I don't know if I've ever told you this. It's aim low and achieve.
A college motto, aim low and achieve.
I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah. That's not original. I got to give Adam Kilpatrick credit for that one.
So, well, no, we're rooting for you. Can we follow along on? Well,
they do a live. I'm pretty sure they use a Bass Track scoring that they use on the Elite Series. I would imagine that means I have to put them in, but they typically keep track of the fishing like throughout the day, so you can watch it on bassmaster.com. And they'll do live leaderboards, live weigh-in on the video and whatnot. So yeah.
Are you gonna GoPro your experience too?
I was actually thinking of it. Yeah. I have the yellow tech for the back of the boat that I plug into the light base. So I was planning on having that going. I don't know. It'd be pretty cool to catch a 6-pounder in a Bassmaster Open and have it on video.
Is there an official in your boat the whole time?
I don't think so.
If you get to the last day and you're in top 10.
Last day, I'm pretty sure they have a camera boat.
I was going to say, if you get to the last day, you're going to have a camera in your boat.
Yeah, but the first 2 days, I don't think so. I honestly,
maybe if you're in the top couple after the first day, you may have a camera in your boat.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they
won't really be able to watch it.
Oh boy, or like fall in the water or something.
Yeah, I'd imagine that they have a lot of. I mean, there's going to be a lot of officials riding around keeping eyes on people. I have no idea. Tournament fishing tends to have some negative connotations to it with people.
I think when
doing things that aren't on board with what the regs are.
I'll tell you though, I think at this level, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I think you hear more of that stories, like people using fish cribs and stuff in the more like the club scene.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're dealing with. This is some people's full-time job. And I mean, I would imagine if there's sketchy stuff going on, it gets to the surface pretty quickly and people keep each other honest. But I get the impression, at least in the professional world, it's a pretty tight-knit group too. And they're not going to backstab each other.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, let's face it, when money's involved, people do bad things.
Yeah.
But I don't think at this level they'd be as prolific as that. I mean, I've always wondered how people even get away with like the fish crib stuff. I guess you put it way back a creek where no one else goes, go pull your fish out and call it a day. But I don't know. You'll see pictures of them being found every once in a while on such and such a lake. But especially in tidal water, I mean, things change so much there. It'd be interesting.
There's a lot of boat traffic there too. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
That place is, because like you said, there's barges running up and down it. There's pleasure boats running up and down it.
So I've been to Gunnersville 4 times now. For almost around a week each time. So let's say I have 4 weeks on Gunnersville, and that's probably one of the most heavily fished lakes in the country. When you're talking about tournaments and whatnot, the Upper Bay with all the pleasure boats is a whole different ballgame. I mean, you have to have your head on a swivel the entire time. Now, fortunately, with the tournament being Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think there's going to be much less of that. But I mean, it's a factor for sure.
Yeah,
that can affect. Can affect fish movement, especially some of the spots that, you get a calm morning with no boats out there. You could be fishing right on the edge of one of these channels where all the boats are going by. Well, you get a day where all of a sudden you've got all the cabin cruisers going by at 15 miles an hour, plowing 3-footers at you. you're not going to fish that same grass bed because the fish are just going to be getting tossed all around in 3 feet of water. So that can certainly affect fishable areas.
Yeah. Yeah. When you get out of those channels down there, it goes from a 15-foot channel or 20-foot deep channel to nothing fast.
Very fast.
How many boats are in it? Do you know?
So I think they cap it at 230. I'm guessing based on the prior opens in this division, it'll be like 150, 175, somewhere in that range. So, but I don't know exactly. But that place, it fishes surprisingly big. I mean, we have the Susquehanna Fishing Tackle Summer Slam down there every year. Last year, it was like 170 some boats, and there you're dealing with a buddy tournament. So you've got 350 lines in the water. And I mean, my cousin and I, we did decently last year in that. We had 19 and a half pounds, lost some good ones. He had a giant, break him off. And, you know, sometimes you're one bite away from it, but that's a tournament, especially that time of year, where out of 175 boats, probably 100 of them are in like a 2 square mile area, or maybe not quite, but I mean, it's amazing the condensed that you get down there.
Yeah.
So,
and how often is it down there? Will the Open be down there?
So there was one in 22. It was the end of September, which is my least favorite time of year to fish down there. So I've had a lot of success down there, like late summer. It was funny. I had a Facebook memory pop up on me today, and my buddy and I last year we won a Wednesday nighter, just like a smaller tournament out of the same place last year, and the date of it was the exact same date as the Open, or like one of the days of the Open. I was like, that's pretty cool. But I mean, that was that time of year to me. It's like there are certain ways I catch them down there, and I caught back-to-back fish on back-to-back casts in the last 10 minutes that were both over 5 pounds. And we ended up having like 14 and a half for our best 3. And we won by like 2 or 3 pounds that night. But again, it's like that time of year where you put me down there in September and I'm like, gosh, I hope I can catch 10 pounds today. So honestly, if the Open was September, I probably wouldn't be fishing it. But to me, it's like, that's my time.
Yeah.
Down there. I don't love the transitional periods. They can frustrate me, but down there where they're predictable, I feel like I know where they're going to be. I don't know. I like my chances.
Good. Well, we'll be rooting for you.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Good luck, Matt.
Thank you.
Hope you tear it up.
We'll see.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be following along with you, Matt. So thanks for coming on the podcast, and thanks everybody for listening. As always, all of our content is on our website, www.outdoorrules.com. We're on Instagram @OutdoorRules. Matt, where are you on Instagram? You got an Instagram page, right?
I do. It's @mgoudie1756.
All right. People can follow you there, and we'll hopefully we'll post a little bit about the tournament as it's going on our social. So thanks again for doing this. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
Hunting and fishing, the great outdoors, mixing history, laughter, love, and folklore, creating memories with family and friends. These are the trophies that matter in the end. Outdoor Rules.